D is home and can get Jake off the bus so I can run late. Works out perfect. Alright, so Black-Red Aristocrats. For those that haven't seen this deck played before and aren't familiar with the Magic jargon, Aristocrats in Magic refers to a deck that is interested in sacrificing its own creatures for value and profit. In this current standard format, Aristocrats decks in general are headlined by Priest of the Forgotten Gods here. So we sacrifice 2 creatures to make any number of target players lose 2 life, sacrifice a creature, and then we get some mana and draw a card. We also have God-Eternal Bontu here as a way to sacrifice not only creatures, but also excess lands in the mid to late game. And then we also have Mask of Immolation here, which can sacrifice our creatures to give us a bit of reach. Chandra, Acolyte of Flames, a really powerful planeswalker out of M20 that really tied this deck together in a really nice way. She provides a sustained flow of bodies for things like Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Her tokens automatically sacrifice if you can't sacrifice them with another means at end of turn, which triggers our Mayhem Devil. Her -2 gives us extra utility and reach with cards like Lightning Strike and Shock, and lets us double up on good removal like Legions of Noxious Grasp post board. So this is my favorite aggro deck in the format. This is what we use to do a lot of our laddering with. This deck's taken me into Mythic a couple seasons in a row. So we're gonna, hopefully if we have an L-rate run here, we can get on into the double digits and then sit on our rank through the end of the month. How do you feel this deck does against Yorick Field? I don't know, actually. I think this deck lines up pretty well against Bant Scape Shift, but Yorick Field is an entirely different animal. Oh. Mulligan, mulligan, mulligan. Alright, at least we won the die roll. We're gonna bottom 2 lands here, keep the 3 spells. Why not lead on Firebrand for 1 extra damage? Can you explain why it's extra damage? So, like, think about the sequence that happened here. If we had played Firebrand on 1 versus 2, we'd be in literally the exact same spot right now. Oh, I should have killed this. Wow, that's a big mistake. I was reading messages, ready to get Nissa here and die. Yep. That's fine. We're probably gonna die there anyways, because we mulliganed didn't have a lot going on. Like, Nissa in 2 turns probably still kills us, but could have had slightly better play there. Lava Coil's great here. Lightning Strike does not kill enough of their stuff. Immolation's probably not good enough. I think I like Cruelty here. Cruelty versus Shock. Cruelty versus Shock. I'm gonna run it like this for now, and on the draw, I'm gonna reposition because Dreadhorde Butcher gets pretty bad on the draw against decks that have lots of cheap creatures. Alright, we're starting Aristocrats at 250. Let's see where we end up. We started today at 110, I think. And we've won more than we've lost, and we've dropped 150 spots almost. Which is why, if we can hit a streak into the top 100, we'll probably just try and stop playing the ladder so we don't have to gamble losing a bunch. Is this the same hand? I feel like this is the same hand I just looked at. I'm gonna YOLO this. If we draw Black Source on 2, this hand's really good.
Firebrands? It's awesome. Go get 'em, buddies.
It's okay, Burgle, I forgive you. I understand what you were thinking about. Yeah, you're right. I'm good. I'm good. Was that a good turn? Remember when I said this hand was really good if we drew a Black Source? I present my case. This card's really good against creature decks that don't really play removal. They have like 4 mana Vivian and that's it. Alright, are we done here? Yeah, we're done here. Bye, Felicia. Alright, so I think I want more creature removal on the draw. I think I want less Dreadhorde Butcher. I think I want Tibalt on the draw. Because he makes a lot of chump blockers for like Vine Mare and other stuff like that. Yeah, when this deck gets to do its thing, it's like really powerful. Against a low interaction deck like my opponent has, I feel like we're gonna be a favorite on average. This deck's probably reasonably cheap in paper too. Because a lot of the cards in here like aren't in other super popular decks. This deck's probably a good number of wild cards. There's a lot of rares in it, but in paper there isn't a lot of the cards in here like aren't things you see in like a lot of other decks that people are playing. This hand's a little bit mediocre because it doesn't have creatures in it, but I think Priest is good enough here that I'm just supposed to keep a hand that has Priest in it. You spent $60 and got the whole deck. Yeah, that sounds right. I'd believe that. Alright, so we're definitely killing the Paradise Druid. The question is, do I kill the Barkhide Troll or the Elf after that? I think I kill the Barkhide Troll. The Barkhide has to pay a mana to get hexproof, which is why it's nice to kill it now. So they have to pay 1 and remove the counter to give it hexproof till end of turn. So when they're tapped out there, it's pretty appealing to kill it. We'd love to draw. Chandra's our best draw, obviously. I wonder if they're going to round out the Scrylands in the fall, or if they'll give us something like, the fast lands. Yep. Well. So, like, I'm trading, I'm not sure, like, they played the Vine Mare, so, like, they get to kill the elf. And this can't block this. A red creature would have been our best draw there, because a red creature would have let us block the Vine Mare. So now Vine Mare gets to eat Chandra here. If I draw any other castable creature, I can Priest the Priest and kill the Vine Mare, though, after I kill whatever their other creature is. Feels bad, man. Interaction is great. It's something.
Tear it down.
I think I kill this elf as well, because this way if I draw another Chandra, I can kill the Vine Mare.
We're gonna tear you apart.
What a bad joke. Magic. The sad part is, if I would have, like, just kept more creatures in, like if this was still the other creature, I'd be in a fine spot here, right? This card isn't even just hexproof. I can't block it either. It's a lot worse than just hexproof. Yeah, it's just, I can't, yeah, I don't know why it's not hexproof from black.
With the Arcbow at my side, I can't lose a fight. With my aim and their claws, you're done.
You should be glad that my assistants are painfully slow.
Anger only.
I mean, if we'd have drawn creatures, we'd have killed them. And they hadn't drawn 2 Vivians. Maybe I should have killed the Land War Elf to keep them off the first Vivian. That's a possibility. I do have jump blockers here for days, so that's nice. And like maybe I can race them while we pump out jump blocker since I have a 5/6 and removal.
The more, the messier.
Yeah, that's true, Burgle. I could have maybe just played a removal spell that turn. I agree with that assessment. I'd encourage you to go back and watch all of my videos with Aristocrats. I think the mask is good. If I didn't think the mask was good, I would cut it. I'm not playing a card because I think it's bad. We've talked about that card a lot. I'd encourage you to go back and watch the gameplay and evaluate for yourself. And just know that my opinion is the mask should be played. That's why it's in my deck. Yeah, I agree, Burgle. I don't think their deck gives trample. Oh, Vivian, 4-mana Vivian gives trample. Yeah, that's true. So we're dead to the third 4-mana Vivian, which is what's about to happen to us. Oh, they can't cast her with Null Hide. Good call. Yep, running along today, Horror. We're so close.
Oh, they're so cute.
One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9. I could put them to 2. It's like, did I miss 2 damage somewhere? Yeah, I think the turn I played the Chandra, the fact they had like double Vivian was really unfortunate. Thanks for the prime support sound effect. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think the turn I played the Chandra, like, we really got screwed by Vinemare there. Like, Vinemare being just an incredibly not interactive card. Just, like, died with all this removal in our hand. And maybe I'm not supposed to sideboard in the Nixilis Cruelty there. Maybe I'm not supposed to sideboard in the Cruelty there. I could see that. I think the turn I played the Chandra out to basically trade for 5 health and their elf was probably not good enough. If I would have had Dreadhorde Butcher instead of that Cruelty though, I almost certainly would have won that game. I also had a couple other decisions that I could have won too. Maybe I'm not gonna run late today. This has been a really miserable run. This is bad beats and bad magic. Alright, seems good. Alright. 1, 2, 3. It's just elementary. What could it be? Flippin' 0-3s, man. Flippin' 0-3s. Started at 22, too. The Manscape Shift matchup's okay, though, overall. I don't know if it's 5 cards they have Graze around 2 okay, though. If the rest of their hand is good, we're probably going to be a little bit short here, unless the top of our deck is very kind to us. Need to pick up, like, some Mayhem Devils here, ASAP. Yeah, deputy detention's just like nail in the coffin.
I am not happy right now.
This is a good example of why it's important to start laddering to get that final push long before the end of the season. Because, like, at one point today, we were, like, 3 match wins in a row away from being safe for the season. And, like, now we probably need a dozen. After a little bit of a bad run. Definitely want Legion's End, want this Duress. Usually trim out Bontu in this matchup. Because you don't want to go too long. Having a couple in is fine because he's randomly reached with Mayhem Devil, but... Yeah, I started the day at, like, rank 100, though, Marty. And we've gone about 500, or a little bit less than that, maybe. And we've dropped a bunch. Just how it goes. You have to hit really good streaks to make meaningful strides up and down the ladder. The ladder and your rank on it is not really a meaningful metric of skill to a degree. Like, you have to be good at Magic to a degree to climb up it, but, like, just being good alone doesn't give you the virtue of climbing up it, right? You have to have, like, sustained win streaks in a row and then sit on it, basically. Which is the thing that's a little bit awkward about the system. Like, the ladder actively discourages you from playing Magic at a certain point. Which I think is a bad system overall. I feel like anytime the correct answer in a system is like, you should stop playing Magic, it's probably a bad system. Well, we had 10 cards between our 2 starting hands this match. Just how it goes sometimes. Alright, if we find a 3rd land, Chandra into Mayhem Devil's a pretty quick clock. Yeah, sure, Tyrantir. I didn't say there aren't other ways to play Magic. I just made the statement that if your incentive system discourages people from playing the game, I think it's structured incorrectly. So if you'd like to discuss that point with me, if you think incentive systems that discourage people from playing are good, can you talk about why you think they're good instead of just bringing up a distractor that's completely unrelated? Yeah, I think Plaguecrafter is slow and clunky and kind of tries to make the deck assume a role that it doesn't want to assume. This is an aggressive deck at its core. And, like, Plaguecrafter is something that's a lot more, like, slow and dirtily and interactive.
I learned a bunch of new burn spells to try on you. Go get 'em, buddies.
Alright, we might be fast enough here on the play. We could get time wiped next turn, but, like, even if we get time wiped, we get to go Mayhem Devil, hit you for 4 next turn. I did the math once about how long it would take you to ladder up if your edge against the whole field was in the 55 to 60% range. And that's the win rate that most people fall into, right?
Say hi to my fiery friends.
Sure. Am I about to get scape shifted? That's not double green, sure.
Hey, these little guys are great.
So all the removal in my deck is Lightning Strike, but if I draw a Legion's End, hitting their face lets Legion's End make Chandra's elementals lethal. So even though there's not shocks in my deck, I think it's right to put them to 2 here. So that way Legion's End lets Chandra be lethal.
I've got it.
So we have 6 live draws here. Oh yeah, let's Mayhem Devil be lethal too, that's true. Oh, that's a mistake. That's actually a pretty big mistake. I should have put a counter on her, because these aren't doing anything anyways. And now she dies to two zombies. Yep. Which means Legion's End and Mayhem Devil are no longer outs. It's a pretty big mistake. We'll take one more draw to Lightning Strike, but just pointing out the misplays when we get them.
Training is so hard.
Also gives me fewer cards to draw next turn if I draw a land to get to Bontu. So she would have represented some more draws there, and it didn't matter.
Don't worry, I got this.
I have to beat sometimes. Sometimes. That's 250 ranks with a loss. Good beats, good beats. 270 in there, thereabouts. It also means we'll probably gain most of that back with a win, but I don't mind the Manscape Shift matchup. It could be that I've been conditioned to play against Valakut in Modern, though. And, like, the fact that you can interact with the things that they get off their lands is a lot, makes the game's a lot more meaningful than, like, playing against Valakut in Modern. The fact that, like, Sweepers and Legion's Ends are, like, cards that can have text is a big leg up. Well, hopefully they thought Erasure me next turn and they get to see my Chandras. If I win a game, I go up 1%, and if I lose, I go down 4. Yep, sounds about right. It's not about your win rate, it's all about streaks. It's all about putting all of your losses together in one spot. I disagree, Duran. I think this archetype as a whole is pretty reasonable against the Scape Shift decks. And, like, you just watched a game where, like, I mulliganed to 5 2 games in a row and, like, had 6 draws in the last turn in that second one where I mulliganed to 5 to still kill my opponent. So one of the things that you need to understand about decks like this in Magic is there's a very psychological aspect that makes players prefer to play control and mid-range decks as opposed to aggressive decks. So when you're playing a deck like this and you win a game, you tend to win very quickly. And when you lose games, they tend to be long and slow when you lose. So this is a type of deck that I would describe as very emotionally unsatisfying to play, because when you win very fast and aren't winning for a long time, and when you lose very slowly. So even when you're winning more matches than you're losing, the amount of time that you spend winning and time that you spend losing are disproportionate compared to your record, on average, most of the time. And then there's games like this that happen with basically every deck where, you know, you just don't draw spells. Or you don't draw spells that are meaningful, or the meaningful spells you draw are in the wrong order. Why is main deck Deputy Detention a big deal against my deck that's got a bunch of lightning strikes in it? Can you articulate that? Can you explain for me? I'm not sure that I see the comparison, or why that's something I should be concerned about. We have one creature with the dice trigger that's like kind of annoying against, but like I have lots of little stuff and I have plenty of ways to kill through it. Does Cruelty only come in versus mid-range decks? Versus decks that have large creatures you want to kill? Cruelty might be better as cast out on the sideboard. It depends on how much Jund dinos you expect. If you expect to play against a lot of dinos, Cruelty is definitely better as cast down because you want to kill the 7/6. This deck is more effective when opponents are relying on a 4-mana sweeper versus 3-mana. That's all I'm saying. Alright, don't. So, what you just did there is what we like to refer to as bad faith arguing. You were arguing in bad faith because you brought up 1 point, and I dissected why I felt your 1 point wasn't correct, and then you took the goalpost and you dragged it over to the side to try and make it like the point you were trying to make it was something else. So like, you were talking about Deputy Detention, and I asked you to engage and discuss the point about Deputy of Detention, and then you brought up 3-mana sweepers. And I agree, playing against a bunch of 3-mana sweepers can be not ideal, but that's completely different and separate than the previous point that you were trying to make. And it's okay to break down and talk about the different things, but don't just like, when you realize someone's explained why the thing you brought up isn't correct or doesn't make a lot of sense, don't just like try and slide the goalpost to save face. Bringing in Duress versus control deck with black aggro. Am I making a mistake on doing that? So, this opponent has Hero of the Precinct 1 in their deck, and against a non-hero deck, I would, against a non-hero deck, I would probably bring in Duress, but against the hero deck, I want more removal in my deck. Cry of the Canarium, cost 3. Deafening Clarion, cost 3. Golden Demise, cost 3. Those are the big 3. I'd love to draw a land here. Flame Sweep's another one, yep. Now, if they have Cry here, I'm gonna be a little sad. But, like, if they have Kaya's Wrath, they're still taking 4 from my Dreadhorde Butcher, so that's kind of okay. The fact that they have Oathakaya there was predictable since they took the Tibalt with the, Legion's End isn't too bad. They're gonna be a little bit sad, but like... So, I'm sequencing like this to try and induce my opponent to make a mistake. They should block here, because if they don't block, I'm gonna kill this at end of turn anyways with the Mayhem Devil triggers. So, I dealt 2 damage first to try and encourage them to not block to get an extra point of damage in. So, blocking is correct here, because they're gonna die. It's gonna die to the trigger anyways. So, they're saving themselves a point of life by blocking. Hey, Cheerios AMA, thank you for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. Alright, don't Kaya's Wrath me, opponent. Have a heart. Depends on what you're looking to remove, Dizzy. Prison Realm's a great selection for Bant, but Baffling End is also very, very good.
Don't worry, I brought company.
Now, the good news on a Deputy sitting in play, CMC stands for Converted Mana Cost, which is magic jargon for the total cost of a card. So Chandra here has a converted mana cost of 3, or the sum of the casting cost symbols. If I can get a preview, so the sum of the casting cost symbols in the card. Also 3, 1, etc. Cards like Blast Zone reference the converted mana cost on a card. Wonder if we'll see them tuck the Mayhem Devil here. If they tuck the Mayhem Devil, they lose the Teferi, but losing the Teferi gains them 2 life on the Oathakaya, so they're probably okay with that. Alright, and...
I brought company.
this lets me kill the Teferi without letting Oath trigger. Alright, so now do I kill the Deputy? Gosh, they're at 6. Nah, always kill the Teferi.
We will meet again.
Leaving the Deputy in play means if they draw Kaya's Wrath, it's pretty bad for them. Bounce Oathakaya.
Let's try this.
What? Sure. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Good line. Guess they don't have a 6th land? Yeah.
Oh, they're so cute. I learned a bunch of new burn spells. Go get 'em, buddies.
Think I want to just put them to 2 here. This attack might be too aggressive.
Here goes nothing.
If they have a bunch of blanks, they're dead.
Trust me. You'll thank me later. Not so fast.
There are lightning strikes in my deck, and there are Bontus in my deck, so we're not just conceding, but the game is slipping away for sure.
Let's skip to the good part. I've got time.
Yeah, Firebrand would be lethal with the Mayhem Devil out too. Bontu is still lethal. Yeah, right. We're gonna play till we lose. So if we lose the next one, we'll be done for the day. If we hit a streak, we're gonna play for a little bit more. So I'm gonna queue up at least one more time here. We're gonna run it down until we lose or until we're top 50. Nah, I bet we're ranked 960. I bet we could get to top 50 in like 6 or 7 wins at most. And this is an aggro deck, so that's like less than 2 hours worth of play. I'm gonna do this and get this to a 2-3, I think. Oh, we're playing a mirror. Okay. Feels bad to not be mana efficient there, but I think that play's correct. Sure. So I think I'm going to go tapped land and then Chandra plus here. So that way she doesn't die to their night pumping itself.
You need more control. Find your fires of passion within.
The real Mr. Morden coming in hot with the 21 months resub there. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, could be a 75 card mirror. Don't know for sure though. Was it better to Chandra minus and shock the vampire? Yes. Yes.
I'm telling Mother Ludi on you. Don't worry. I brought company.
Chandra does make you pay mana for the spell. It does take all their mana, which is true, so they don't develop their board. They have a lightning strike here. Okay, so they're playing Heartfire, so it's not exactly a 75 card mirror. They've got some differentials. Definitely want Cruelty and Lava Coil. I think I'm gonna cut Mask. They don't have that many X1s I care about in this matchup. I think I just want as much removal as possible on the board on the draw. Dreadhorde Butcher is gonna die a lot. Legion's End is pretty okay. Supposed to be to 21 creatures. I think this is fine. I'm gonna bring more legions. I think this is a little bit more resource efficient than Cruelty. The only thing Cruelty tags that legions I miss it is like Judith or Mayhem Devil if they have those on 3. Getting the information of what's in their hand is valuable on Legion's End too. Just gives you a little bit of a peekaboo. Legion's End can randomly 2-for-1 them as well, which is powerful. In Duress. Not a Duress matchup, friend. So I want to play... I guess I actually play Grim on one now, huh? So Grim, playing a creature that can profitably block Dreadhorde Butcher when they play it turn 2 is our goal here. My opponent mulliganed to 5 for us, so that's nice. Do you have a removal spell? Pretty good one. Opponent missed a free attack. Maybe, I mean, like, if they attack me, I get to hit them for 1 in the backswing. So, like, if they think they're currently in a defensive position, like, not attacking is correct. There's a magic arena symbol on it. I hadn't seen that one before either. I'm not quite sure where those from. Anyone know? There's some from one of the promo events. So, sacrificing this here is fine. Because it means I do 4 this turn and trigger my knight. So, this game's probably too far gone for my opponent. They've just stumbled for too long here. Yes, I guess they could have, like, removal spell, and we could flood out a little bit. I don't know, Bontu in hand's pretty good. Chandra off the top, also great. Alright, maybe this'll be... Maybe this will be our turnaround, and we're about to play Aristocrats for another 2 hours while we climb up. Jeff was already 80 on the inside, pretty much. I was already old and bitter. Don't witch figure me, bro. Alright. You going to cry me a river? Please thought erasure me. Grixis planeswalkers. Okay.
An open mind.
Chandra, you need more control. Oh, they're so cute.
I was not prepared for this.
So this Dreadhorde Butcher is out of cry range. Chandra insulates us a little bit from a Ritual of Soot. Although the beacon might mean they're less likely to play Soot, but control decks need to have a sweeper of some sort, right? I like getting the Chandra down in under this Thought Erasure since we know that's coming. The Bolas is coming! The Bolas is coming! The real question is, do we Mayhem Devil next turn or do we Dreadhorde Butcher? Because I assume we're going to lose Bontu. Man, this Thought Erasure card seems really bad. Anybody know why people play that one? Seems like a strange one to include. Would I rather have Shock or Lightning Strike, and why? Go. Shock or Lightning Strike? What do we think? Resource efficiency on Shock is appealing. Strike kills Narset after she down ticks. Lava Coil kills 4 mana Nick, and it kills Sharkin Dragons, which is nice. I like the reach aspect on Lightning Strike, though, and I like killing their other stuff. We need to kill Narset, yeah. I think I'm going to leave Lightning Strike in. Because we do care about being able to draw cards with Priest and Bontu. Oh, is that what it is, Mail Branch? The secret is Thought Erasure just compels you to do immense self-reflection, to like really think about like, your decisions have led you here. Are you happy with where you are in your life? How do fandom invites work? They're a private organization and they invite whoever they want. I think the top 4 from the previous week gets invited back, if I recall. So, drawing the second Firebrand here, yeah, so I was gonna Duress on one, but because I drew the second Firebrand, I want to attack for 1, so that way next turn I can go Duress plus Firebrand to double spell. Because if I Duress on 1, I can't double Firebrand on 2 the way my mana is. Have you tried the card Heartfire and iterations of this deck? We have. I'm not a fan. I think it's worse than Lightning Strike and Shock on average. I'm not sure we're currently in a position to beat this Bolas, though, is part of the issue. We'd really like to draw a red source next turn, so that way we can, like, play this and attack them. Need 1 more Firebrand to take care of Bolas. That's technically a red source. No, it's not. Not even a little. It's technically a 1/1 for 1. So I wish I had Fry in my 75, but you can't really justify Fry. I don't think so. I think I'm just going to go ahead and run it back here. This is a game where you get to have Butchers on the play. Sign me up. Guard's much better on the play than the draw. Okay, yep. Bottom this, have Duress into Butcher. Sounds good. I mean, it's hoping for lands from the Discovery, right? This is the part where they untap and Legions at me, and I just, like, weep silently. don't know. They're probably fine. The anti-control cards, the anti-aggro cards of this format are like really strong. They kept a land on top, so I assume they're playing Narset this turn. Really? Okay, deal. Brick, 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 brick. Holy shit. Seriously? Their draws were land, ritual of soot. Just vomit. That's so brutal. Three or four. I'm probably gonna draw a land in 5 cards, right? Famous last words. It's probably 3. 3 is probably a good number. They're gonna be 3 lands. It's 2 lands.
The whole of the multiverse will bend to my will. Conceivable.